Can you still recognize your own voice? What if the greatest risk of artificial intelligence is not that it starts thinking like us, but that we slowly stop thinking like ourselves? We spend a great deal of time asking what AI can do. The question we should be asking is what AI might change within us. Hello and welcome to Unbox the Podcast. I'm Sahar Huneidi Palmer. Today, I want to ask one simple question. Can you still recognize what's real about you? Can you recognize your real voice? Before we begin, a couple of housekeeping updates. First, thank you for the 48,000 downloads of the podcast last month. Your interaction and subscription to my LinkedIn newsletter, I really appreciate it. By the way, if you see the tail of one of my 3 cats going across the screen, I can't help it. They jump on my desk when an episode is of interest to them. And if you hear more banging, that's Dubai. It can't be helped either. There's always construction going on next door. The price of progress, I suppose. We love it, except at night. As AI become more integrated into our lives, many of us are relying on it to think, to write, to create, to solve problems, and even to make decisions. There is nothing wrong with using powerful tools, but we also need to know which thoughts are truly ours. This is exactly why I developed my 4 dimensions of change. They help us recognize where our thoughts, emotions, beliefs interact and where our actions come from, so that when we use such technology, we don't have to lose who we are, we don't lose our own perspective. So how do you stay connected with yourself while using such powerful tools as artificial intelligence? This is where I want to bring in the 4 dimensions of change, because self-awareness becomes practical when we know where to look. First, begin with the body. Notice what happens physically when an idea feels alive. Perhaps you feel energized, curious, drawn towards it. You may also notice when something feels off, not quite right, when there's tension, heaviness, or withdrawal. Of course, every bodily sensation is not intuitive guidance. Fear, excitement, memory, past experiences can all create physical responses. This is not what I'm talking about, but this is why the work is about knowing yourself. This is why it is about self-awareness, because you begin to notice patterns and you begin to understand what are the sensations that your body is picking up. Then there is emotions. What moves you? What repeatedly touches something in you? What makes you angry enough to want to change? What brings you joy and leaves you deeply affected? Emotions carry information because it shows us where meaning lives for us. Again, awareness matters. An emotional reaction may come from an old wound, a present truth, fear, desire, or projection. But when we continually bypass emotion, we lose access to an important dimension of ourselves. Then we come to the mind and belief system. Your mind can imagine possibility, but your belief is determined by what you allow yourself to imagine. If you believe that you are not creative, you may reject your own ideas before you even had time to develop them. If you assume that authority always knows better, you may trust external resources and doubt your own perception. If you equate speed with intelligence, you may never allow an idea to develop and mature fully. And if a generated answer sounds polished, you may assume it must be better than your own. Finally, there is accountability to actions. What do you do with what you discovered? You test an idea, you question it, you develop it, and you decide whether to bring it into reality. AI can suggest possibilities, but it can often take you around the ring. But you still have to live with the consequences. Your life remains yours. How you come across, how you communicate remains your responsibility. This week, I want to suggest something very simple. Before you ask AI for an idea, give yourself 5 minutes. Take a piece of paper and write a questions down. Then allow yourself to respond without editing your answers. Notice the first association, image, memory, or strange thought that appears. Then use a tool to compare the answers that you receive. Ask yourself, what has AI added? What did you miss? Whether it has opened a new direction for you or has it flattened something that you were felt personal about. Notice what you reject and what genuinely surprises you. This is conscious collaboration. You're not replacing your thinking, you're expanding it. You're almost brainstorming with someone else rather than completely giving them the responsibility of how you express yourself or your communication. I have created an ebook called Your Dreams Decoded. It is designed to help you explore and bridge your intuition with your rational thinking process. You can find it through my website, and I will leave a link in the description of the podcast episode. Imagination is central to change. Imagination is often treated as something childish, artistic, or impractical. Yet, imagination is central to what makes us human, and it is central to our personal transformation and evolution as humanity. When someone feels stuck, notice that they think their possibilities have narrowed. They may be intelligent, capable, experienced, even successful. Yet they can easily imagine just as equally disappointment, rejection, and the past repeating itself. If you know someone like that, ask them to imagine a genuinely different future and something else closes. This is why I say whatever we can not imagine, we cannot realize or make real. As human beings, we need some internal sense that another possibility does exist. Intuition may give you a direction before you even have proof. Imagination allows you to explore what that direction is before you may begin. Logic helps you to evaluate it, and accountability asks you, are you prepared to now take the next step? This is a whole human process. We cannot skip any of it. Would you want us to lose touch with it simply because a machine can give us answers much faster? I also think that we need to reconsider what creativity means. We often judge creativity by the finished output, a book, a painting, a report, a business campaign, song, or a product. But certainly, creativity begins much earlier when we notice, when we wonder, when we question what is familiar, when we start to think differently. It also develops when you allow an idea to remain unfinished. It kind of like needs to sit there long enough to become something, to evolve into what you want it to evolve into. I know this as a writer, dare I say, as a content creator, which reminds me of something that happened a few years ago during homestay. I was chatting with my neighbor's friend's 7-year-old son, and I asked him, what would you want to be when you grow up? Immediately he answered, a content creator. That made me smile because it says much about the world we live in today. Creativity itself has been redefined. It's now about content creation. Sometimes I have a phrase that I don't know what to do with. A poem starts with an image, a sound, a line, a song, or I may even carry a feeling for days before I even know what it is about. There is a relationship between you, how you think, and what you create. Whatever it is needs time to emerge. Not so much as there's a process going on, and however the process takes long, but you need to give it its cooking time for it to emerge, to mature. You may lose your patience and you may not allow that process or the final product to emerge if you rush it and if you look for instant answers. Artificial intelligence can be enormously useful, but sometimes the most creative thing to do is to stay with a question. Whatever the question is, whatever it's to do with your business, stay with it for a while and see what surprises you. Not every answer has to be immediate for it to be meaningful or indeed even correct. So I ask you again, can you still recognize your own voice? This may be the most important question of this episode. I mean, the way you naturally think, the connections that your brain makes when you arrive at an answer. This question keeps coming back to me. Ask yourself what subjects have followed you through your life. What images or dreams kept recurring? What thoughts kept coming to you? What experiences have shaped your understanding? What did you have to live through before you arrived at where you are now? All of that is your own personal process, which AI does not have. All of this contributes to your inner signature, your inner voice, your inner values. And if you have spent years adapting to other people's way of thinking or doing things to seek their approval, performing would have probably become automated in you. You may have lost your signature. You may not find it if you continue that way. That is why unboxing really matters, and that is why I'm passionate about unboxing the real you. Unboxing is an ongoing process to recognize yourself beneath what's going on at the surface, to explore your inherited beliefs, your performed identities, and who are you now. I think we also need to recognize ourselves beneath the digital influence. As AI becomes part of our everyday life, that awareness becomes even more important. Not because technology is a problem, but because we should have never lost sight of who we are. With human beings who can use extraordinary tools while remaining connected with their inner, unique voice, imagination, and intuition. Because the courage to be you now also means having the courage to be self aware, to recognize when something is genuinely you, when something is genuinely the true solution. Before we finish, let us come back to where we began. Artificial intelligence will continue to evolve. It will become faster, smarter, more capable. But your imagination, your judgment, your intuition, and your lived experiences remain uniquely yours. Technology can support our thinking, but it should never replace it. Today, we explored why or how the four dimensions of change can help you stay connected with yourself and aligned with your purpose, and how it is tempting to find answers immediately. We explored why imagination is where possibilities begin, why creativity starts long before the finished product, and why recognizing your own voice may become one of the most valuable skills in the age of AI. Powerful tools will continue to shape the future. The question becomes even more important, which is to strengthen your thinking and not quietly replace it. The choice still belongs to you. If this episode spoke to you, please subscribe. Remember to subscribe. Many people listen every week without subscribing, and your subscription genuinely helps people to find, discover, Unbox the podcast. You can also visit my website, connect with me on social media, send me your suggestions. What would you like the conversation to be about? Sign up for my newsletter for updates and special member offers. I'm Sahar Huneidi Palmer, and this has been season 26, episode 28 of Unbox the Podcast. Until next time, protect your imagination, trust your intuition, and stay close to the real you.